You know what it is. It's a Wednesday in the Woody, Wisconsin edition. Woody, Wednesday, Wisconsin. Tim May, the 40-year vet, Andy Backstrom, Spencer Holbrook. Fellas, we're going to do this a little bit rapid style. Ryan Day spoke in the lightning round, got a few different players, talked to Josh Fryer, which I thought was really interesting, a few guys on the defensive side of the ball, and Marvin Harrison Jr., of course, spreading his knowledge about the wide receiver position. Tim, like I said, we're going to do some things quickly, but what'd you learn?
Woody on Wednesday for a Wisconsin week, which the Buckeyes hope ends with a W.
Sure.
Win. What I learned was we got to talk to Ryan Day in the lightning round. I think I'm preferring the lightning round more on the Thursdays instead of Wednesday after practice, just because it gets too jammed in with players coming in and stuff. But I asked him, does he feel like he's going to have a full complement this week? And basically, he feels really good. But he didn't get specific about who's going to be back.
Because he won't.
Because we know, the last several weeks they have not played with a full complement, especially on offense, which they didn't last year either. But, if they do get Travion Henderson back, if Emeka Egbuka plays, I don't think there's a big pressure on Egbuka to play, but it would mean a lot to the offense if he does. Mm-hmm. That's big. And, of course, Denzel Burke, he's whatever he's dealing with, which I was under the impression was a concussion protocol thing. Whether he's back this week remains to be seen also. But it's at least encouraging that these guys at least have seen some action in practice in one form or fashion, and he feels pretty encouraged about them getting back.
Yeah, we talked to some young defensive up-and-coming stars potentially in the years to come. Kenyatta Jackson had his first sack against Penn State. He said that was a really kind of a breakthrough moment for him. Mm-hmm. He had a strong spring, a really strong training camp, but then just was working through some things. He didn't get into specifics, but seemed to be some off-the-field stuff he was working through that really shook his confidence. He said that, Ryan Day was super helpful, helping him get back on track, and his teammates were as well, some of the leaders on that defense.
Did you hear how Josh Fryer summed it up? I told Josh Fryer as he was leaving, you could be a defensive ends coach one of these days, was talking about how he's figured out the little things. Hardly anybody's as quick as Kenyatta Jackson coming off the football and just doing his move, But there's so much more involved when you're out there and you've got responsibilities. If this guy lines up this way, then your responsibility is this. Things flip and flop, and it takes away your quickness. And Josh Fryer said, you've noticed, and you saw it on Saturday, his quickness is back because he knows so much more about what he should be doing out there and what his responsibilities are. That's an interesting take because we all know Kenyatta Jackson has got the goods.
You also talked to Germaine Matthews, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, Germaine was pretty confident, and I was talking to Josh Proctor. He said, Germaine's a pretty easygoing guy, and that's probably why that moment just wasn't too big for him. But, he said he can be really serious when he needs to be on the field. He did understand the gravity of that moment playing against Penn State, but he felt like he was ready. He's felt really good in this program since he came in January. I asked him afterward, I was like, hey, did Denzel Burke say anything to you after the game, like any props to you? And he's like, he told me to go get paid. He told me to go get paid. It's just a crazy thing that can be legal now in college sports. Obviously a good thing, but it's just, makes you think like, wow, a freshman saying that. It's wild. But he played so well. He deserves it.
And Marvin talked about him, about how just full of confidence he was even showing up here. And I said, is that the sign? You heard me ask Kyle McCord that same thing too. When a cornerback shows up, man, you don't want a wallflower, You don't want somebody who's gonna work his way up through you want somebody who thinks he belongs here and gets after it from the get-go. And definitely Germaine Matthews has fit that bill.
Yeah, he talked about how you need confidence to play cornerback. You need confidence to be a true freshman on the field. But that position especially, you need to have the confidence and the short memory. And he said that, he's had both of those things for a while. And so, he was great talking to us. It seems like he really is buying into what they're building with this defense, what Tim Walton's been coaching him up on. And he's another piece for the secondary if they're going to need him, whether it's Denzel Burke, Jordan Hancock, or Davison Igbinosun. If anyone goes down, they're confident now. They've got Germaine Matthews, so they can just slide right in.
My big takeaway from today is I asked Ryan Day during the lightning round how you can tell if a week's good, because there are weeks where Ryan Day says we had a great week of practice. There are weeks where Ryan Day never says we had a bad week of practice, but he does say things that make you think when they have a great week of practice. We had a great week of practice, or he says nothing. I said, how can you tell the difference and how do you know that you're ready after an emotional win like Penn State? And he said, you can see it in their eyes, which he's a big look in their eye kind of guy. Mm-hmm. He talks about it all the time. You can see it in the way that they practice, the energy that they bring to practice. He said that he's seen that this week, and I think that's good news for Ohio State fans. Rest assured, Ohio State fans, that Ryan Day is seeing that from his team. It's not a flat bunch. It's not a bunch that's resting on its laurels from the Penn State game, and that's important. When you go on the road to Camp Randall and then you have to go back on the road to Rutgers, the tone setter is this week of practice. Because if you have a great week of practice this week, you have a good day on Saturday in the game, you carry it into the Rutgers game, you don't have a letdown in Piscataway before you get back home in a couple weeks. I think that's important to note, that they're off to the right start of this 2-week stretch.
You know why they're not resting on the laurels? Because Marvin Harrison Jr. talked about it. I asked Kyle McCord about it. They haven't come close to playing a perfect game, or even what you would call an excellent game on offense. I mean, even last week, as Ryan Day said right after the game, and it's repeated, they left a lot of opportunities unrequited, I guess is the right term, maybe.
Sure.
Unfinished. They did the same thing against Notre Dame. Those were both huge wins. They didn't have to be as close as they were.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they've got things to work on. I mean, as I'm speaking right now, Marvin Harrison Jr. with his buddy Reese Stockdale, they're over here working on the Monarch machine, catching balls. And there's so much, we all know it, we've watched it, there's so much farther this offense can go than it's gotten to yet. It's kind of remarkable in a way, because this team can keep getting better and better.
If you're planning on heading to Madison, boy, do I have a ticket sale for you. Go to the GameTime app, gametime.co. Get $20 off your first purchase on the GameTime app when you use the promo code Buckeyes. If you're not heading to Madison, you want tickets to that banger at night, prime time against Michigan State, against whoever the heck is going to be on Michigan State's roster by then. We don't really know, on November 11th. Go to the GameTime app or gametime.co. You want to go watch Ohio State if they end up playing in Ann Arbor on November 25th. Who knows what's going to happen in that situation. The tickets will be there on gametime.co, and with the GameTime app, whether they play or not, you can go to the game. So all of that is to say, the terms apply, of course, because they always do, but you can save $20 with your first purchase with the promo code Buckeyes at gametime.co or through the GameTime app. You can also do the price matching technically, but you win some money. In my opinion, with GameTime, they do the thing where, Tim, you love to talk about it, 110% the difference. If you find you buy a ticket on GameTime, find it cheaper in the same section on a different app, send that into GameTime. They'll refund you 110% the difference. The GameTime app, Tim.
Yeah. Terms, of course, do apply. Always read the fine print, no matter where you are. Isn't that right, son of a lawyer?
Absolutely.
But the bottom line is, it's a hell of a deal, and the $20 off your first purchase is still a hell of a deal, as long as you use that promo code Buckeyes.
Get your magnifying glass out, read those terms, because they always do apply. But save $20. Use the promo code Buckeyes at checkout with the GameTime app or at gametime.co. We're going to go do that right now. Get those credentials from Jerry, the SID. Tim A, the 40-year vet, he's going to get out of here. This was a quick practice report. Andy Backstrom, he's going to get out of here, go get to work. Because we're going to record bold predictions, full disclosure. We're not going to lie to the people. We're going to act like it's Friday and it's going to be Wednesday. And
can I say one more thing before we
go ahead, by all means.
The thing that's impressed me the last couple of weeks, because I love watching, as you know, I love watching football. I love rewatching games.
We do love football.
And I asked Josh Fryer about it. There is a sense that this offensive line is getting its act together. One of the reasons is, like both you guys have written about, I think, in the past too, recently, is how they've simplified things to a certain extent. But I'm telling you, they're coming off the ball, and that is the sign of an offensive line on the upward plane. You still got to block people. You still can't let people slip through, so to speak. But that happens to any offensive line. But to watch these guys coming off the ball now, that's why it's going to be interesting on Saturday night at Wisconsin with a silent count. It kind of takes away a little bit of that sometimes, and we'll see how they do in that regard. But of course, Josh Fryer's looking forward to it, because he's never been to Wisconsin for a game. He visited there on a recruiting visit there in the middle of winter, which is not exactly the right time to go to Wisconsin. As I reminded him, Carson Hinsman just grew up in Wisconsin and decided to come to Ohio State.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, there is a sense that this offensive line is coming together, maybe sooner rather than later.
The offensive line might be a talking point in bold predictions on Friday. Go to the Lettermen Row YouTube channel or lettermenrow.com. Get those sweet bold predictions on Friday. Get a lot of coverage on Thursday. Get more coverage Wednesday night. And then you get on to Wisconsin. On to Wisconsin for Ohio State. The Buckeyes preparing to head to Madison. Lettermen Row will be there in full force. All three of us will be in the crowd. Maybe we'll have our phones up. Who knows? Tim May, the 40-year vet. Andy Backstrom. That's me, Spencer Holbrook. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Head to lettermenrow.com right now. Get $1 for your first month, and the pricing doesn't matter from there. We'll see you guys there at lettermenrow.com. We'll see you in Madison on Saturday.